and welcome to Conversations here on NTA Network. Now, today's episode is going to be a bit different. It's because we're going to be celebrating conversations as a whole, how far we've come, and highlights from 2017. Everyone's going to introduce themselves. I'm not going to do it for them. Let's start with you.
Okay, my name is Somtom Bello.
I am Rekiba Bello.
Devan.
Chinwe here. I'm Edith, and compliments.
Now, some of these faces are regulars on Conversations. Somto is really here to balance the equation. I hope you're comfortable. Blessed are you amongst women, Somto.
Well, I have to be. Lovely women around me.
So, highlights from 2017. It's been a great year for Conversations. We started with full force in June, if I'm right.
Yes.
Yeah, we started with little resources, but so far we've grown. We've had more people coming in. It's been fun each step of the way. We'll start talking about our favorite episodes. My favorite episode was with the FPRO, Jimo Ibrahim, for the Christmas season, where he was talking about security, personal security, and security of your homes, and especially when you're going home over the holiday period.
Nice one. I liked the one we did on residual income. I liked that. I thought it was very engaging. I liked what everybody else had to say, and I learned one or two things. I also liked the edition we did on drug abuse. I learned a lot from that one as well, and the one around personal hygiene. I think those are my three favorites.
I think I enjoyed every bit of it, especially because I had to learn, I had the privilege or the opportunity to learn one or two things that I didn't know before, and also to see things from someone else's perspective. You get what I mean? Because it's not all about us, especially when the conversation leaves the studio and it goes to, our social media handles. Yeah. Other people are saying things that you never even thought about. So I think that's, for me, that's the thing. So I don't want to pinpoint it to any particular. I learned a lot in the whole process of conversation.
Go ahead. Okay, well, for me, it has to be Why Do Mention. It was very engaging, very interesting. It was fun, and I learned a lot. We argued about so many things that is common in the society.
Right.
We learned a lot, and it has to do. The second one has to be female hygiene. That was actually very interesting and educating too. And then Good Neighbor.
Good Neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Why Men Cheat was one of Rakiba's all-time favorites. The gentleman that was on set with us, Bash, also had a man's perspective and explanation to almost everything she threw at him. And she's like, no, but why do you make it like that? It was something else. So what about you?
Okay, so I think one of the high point for me or best topics, we have two of them. That's residual income and also good neighborliness. So the one for residual income, opened our perspective, like different angles on, why you should also have other source of income, and not just having other source of income also, but also doing each and every one of them very well. Yeah. And then issue of good neighborliness, trying to keep some good relationship with your neighbors. Especially
I think we like
I can tell what will come out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember we are festive seasons. This is Christmas.
Believe me, he has his personal reasons.
So it's actually a nice one. So I think these topics were actually nice, and it was quite engaging.
Some will probably be sniffing chicken.
And turkey. Literally follows the aroma to the name of
well, the last time I checked, I think that isn't a crime. So it's something that
go for it. Yeah, it's been fun actually. It's been
Meanwhile,
so much fun.
I don't think that you're not going to answer this question.
What question?
The same one you've asked
I
everybody.
told you now.
She mentioned that she started
personal
as
security with Chimo Moshood. I think that was my favorite, my all-time favorite.
Well, for me, child labor. That was, I think, one of the first topics we treated. That was very interesting. There were different perspectives, and it was also emotional for most people because we talked about things that
actually occur on a daily basis in our society. So that really was something that was very deep, was a deep topic for me. And Boss Lady,
yes.
Bash was here for Boss Lady.
Yes,
And on that day, it was very interactive. It got so interactive. The cameramen were saying, Bash, you know, you need to speak up more. Saying more than you say. And whenever we took a break, they were saying like, Bash, you need to represent. And it was so interesting, and there were different perspectives, and even everybody had something to say. And what everybody in the studio, including the crew, were saying added perspective to the program, actually, because we took several breaks and people had things to say, and we now brought them into the discussion, and that was really interesting. The studio was really into the whole studio was taken by that topic. And then I think there was one we did also, driving. Driving, and Rakiba said she did 140 from Abuja to Kaduna.
And that was my first time.
That was her first time, and she was doing something like 140. I was like,
So highlights of 2017. If you missed out on any of these episodes, here's a snippet of what we have been doing this year.
Like I said, no society is crime-free, and that's built on us to not be security conscious. You know, when you are in a cab and you are pinging, or probably, how do they call it? Yes, you are sending text messages. That's when you are checking your WhatsApp. That's when you are doing a lot of things. You don't know when the taxi man takes you from Wuse to into Maitama, or he takes you from Maitama into Asokoro. So because all the streets look alike. So before you look at what you are saying, there's somebody in the boat already
that's coming out to strangle.
So
I've heard of that.
Yep. So it is important when you are security conscious. Then the man that is even going to take you will have a change of mind. If you are a lady and you are chattering a text, for example, you sit behind the driver. That's the best.
That's actually what I do.
I actually got a list of somebody sent me a WhatsApp message of different ways to secure yourself when you're in a certain situation. I think they said if you're getting into a taxi that you don't know the driver, as soon as the taxi comes, even if you're not really taking a picture, you act as if you're taking a picture of his license plate. When you get into the car, you get on the phone and pretend like you're telling somebody, this is what he looks like, this is what the car looks like, this is where I'm going. So he would already be mindful that there's somebody that knows that would calm down.
Yes, but in addition to that, that's a very good strategy. But in addition to that, you see, most of these taxis that engage in this doesn't have rear plate number.
Oh, really?
And so, yes, when you stop a taxi, look at the rear plate number. You can even ask the driver, come and open your boot. Because from the boot, somebody can go in. So if you are very sure.
And then there's one chance people serve.
Yes. So, and if you look at the issue of one chance, for example, maybe 2 or 3 people are in the car already. It beholds on you to tell the driver where are you going, because in that instance, anywhere you are going, since they want to pick you for one chance, is where they will be going. So if you now ask where are you going? So if it's your way, you try. But if you see 2 people, even if there are women among them, you still be careful. That's not an assurance that everything. So for this period, you know, we can go on and on. But for this period, people should be more security conscious. If you are more security conscious, you will be able to push them out. But most importantly, we should cultivate the habit of being law abiding, because the resources we employ to compelling people, or rather enforcing the law, is huge. We can divert those to even crime prevention and other area of investigation.
For me, I go to work in the morning, and then I have time in the evening to go to my shop and see what the tailors do. But for you to be able to, you know, manage this overtime sustainability, like you said, it has to do with teamwork.
Can I say something
in that aspect? But if you are the kind of person that usually just go on your laptop and do it, you can do it after work. It's all about, you know, prioritizing and then knowing what works for you and the right time.
I think
sense of discipline.
I think it's very difficult. You know, the business terrain in Nigeria is pretty difficult.
Yes.
Very, very. Nothing is predictable. So I was going to say, yes, it's good for you to have a focus, to have a plan. For instance, you do an 8 to 4 job, right? And then it's 8 to 4 on paper. But in reality, you're there maybe till 7.
12 to 12. You know,
you're there till 7. What do you do in a situation like that?
So I also have one question to you, or to all of us. Okay. Must you have residual income?
Must you have?
Yes. I want to add something. Must is a quote. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
Must you have residual income? Then I also tell people that there's for you it's very, very, very important that you specialize. It's very important that you are known for something.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because if you're not known for something, nobody will not even know what to add to you, associate you with. So find that some people, because of the residual income in quotes, they have gotten into the cat race.
Yeah.
Because you're here, you're there, you're here, you're
everywhere.
So nobody can say you are
This is what you're
actually
known for.
very, very, very good in this. So I advise people that for you to get involved in something residual, extra income or anything, you should be a master of something. Because most times when you become master of something, doors will open from being master of something, other avenues connected to probably the first thing you started. For example, we know about AY.
Yeah.
AY the comedian. Of course, AY started with stand-up comedy.
Stage.
Stage play, from there, stand-up comedy, and now the guy has diverted into what? Movie making.
Yes.
So you could see the direction, and you could see the link, and you see how this trend,
The progression
how the
from point to
progression
point.
is going.
That's a good
So
point, yeah.
when you're doing something,
flow.
yes,
Yes.
there's a flow. Make sure you do it
Well.
perfectly, very, 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 very well.
If you say you would have to choose your neighbors based on your neighborhood, whether it's upscale or down in the ghetto, it also depends on if you yell, who's going to come? Where will they come out to help you? These things, so it's relative. If you're living in a gated community, it's upscale, and you're yelling for help and nobody opens their gate to help you, everybody is safe in their own little space. That too just tells you that your neighbors are not good.
True.
So I mean, sometimes it's all very relative.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Because you yelled,
Yeah.
and because you are a lot, we like noise, and you are asking for help, and your neighbors didn't come to help you, does that make them bad input?
I think so, yes.
They ought to come out.
We all have our responsibilities as neighbors.
Yeah.
As a human
neighbor.
being,
Yeah.
as a human being even. As a human being.
And they can hear you and they don't come out.
But does that mean you, when you hear someone yell, won't you come out?
Come out.
Come and knock.
And ask, yeah.
Call someone.
Call the police.
Well, let's talk
call
about
fire service.
Let's see it this way: when there's maybe a friction between a husband and wife, maybe there's a fight, and it's a fight, and they do that
You want to
for
get
us.
involved
No,
in
you don't get
business?
involved.
You want them to break your head?
No, that's what I'm saying. I feel you shouldn't get involved.
You see husband and wife, if husband and wife, they are fighting.
No, you shouldn't
And
get
because you're
involved.
a good neighbor, you
It's
want
very
to join?
tricky.
No.
It's very tricky.
I can't get involved in this.
Or the woman kills the man.
Or they break, or they kill
And what
you in
if
the process.
it's a habit? They keep doing that. They keep doing that. No, it's not you.
If somebody wants someone to a listening ear, they can come over without infringing on your. And but you build these relationships over time. It's not something that happens overnight.
Yes, and
so
then and then sometimes they also, when they have parties, they can send some jollof rice.
Yes, or
some
jollof
Nigerian
rice.
jollof rice.
But
Very
thinking
true.
about
Jollof rice.
neighborhood.
Yeah, this one of my neighbor that had a party and she didn't send jollof rice. So
You
I'm
took it
saying-
personal.
I took it personal. I took it personal. That I thought that we had good relationship. And then we had a
One
party.
of my
we
neighbors
phoned
said
them.
was Dojo now.
Jollof
Which
rice.
neighbor fries Dojo and does not share? I said
And-
that Dodo is not easy now. I
they
should
know-
fry Dodo for the whole neighborhood.
And we bachelors now, we don't joke with such materials. Yeah, such gestures. So I had this neighbor. So she brings. When she in a while, she brings. And every day when I pray, pray good prayers for her.
Yeah, she's
Yes.
a good neighbor.
Yeah,
Good
she's a very good
neighborliness.
neighbor.
Talking about neighborliness, there are some neighbors that you just can't stand them.
Tell me
They
about
don't know
it.
their boundaries.
It's true.
And they can borrow the whole of Africa from your house.
So like those ones that will knock and say, please, who is in your house? So,
I'm telling you. Okay.
I feel there are things that can be borrowed.
Salt, sugar,
There are things that can be
matches.
borrowed. You can't borrow a
they
car.
can even borrow shoes.
You can't borrow a car. You can't borrow shoes. You can borrow things that need to be used. Readily available.
Yes.
Say matches. Of course, maybe you
Well,
want to do
matches-
something
matches is
exactly.
okay.
Sugar once in a while.
What about those ones that come and watch programs that end up not going?
I've not paid my DSTV. No, they'll come into your house and they'll be like, I've not paid my DSTV and I need to watch
And
this.
and you have the one you want to watch.
Exactly. This one has
change it to that channel.
The next program is coming.
If you have someone, a friend, a brother, a sister, a colleague at work that has a very bad oral hygiene, or let's say bad mouth odor,
halitosis.
Yes. How do you tell the person in a very polite way?
Yes.
How do you help the person? Because it's a bit challenging. Sometimes you might not want to approach the person and the person will feel like you're being, like you're insulting him or you're trying to say the person is dirty, when in your own mind you're actually trying to help the person.
The person's best interest. Yeah.
I love that question. You know why? Because I have been in that situation.
Okay.
I have to.
15 years
I need
ago, a very good friend of mine, childhood friend, was about to get married. And she said to me that her fiancé or her fiancé it's got mouth odor.
Wow.
And they have been dating for more than a year.
Okay.
And that was the first time she had the courage to tell me that her fiancé has got mouth odor. And each time he wants to kiss her, she looks for an excuse to avert her face. And the kiss will land on her cheek. And then what is she going to do? Because now he has proposed, because the engagement was just
she needs a solution.
The engagement was 24 hours old and she needs a solution.
Well, apparently she liked the guy.
Yeah.
Crazy about him. They're still together, happily married, 4 kids.
Wow.
No, there's always be an obstacle.
So what is she going to do? I said to her, this is very simple actually. She said, how? Tell me. I've been dying in silence. I could have told you since all these months. What do I do? Easy. I said, come, this is not just what do you do. Come with me. Let's go to the shop. We went to the shop, supermarket. You get mouthwash. You get breath freshener. You get 2 sets of toothbrush. Two sets. You get 2 sets of toothpaste. And not just a regular toothpaste. The one that they say is for sensitive teeth. The one that has triple action.
Triple action.
All of those things. You get them. The good, really good ones, okay? Now you get the dental floss.
Sorry, why 2?
Why what?
2 of each.
No, you use this one. You don't like it. You switch to this one. Because after all the hype, sometimes you put the toothpaste there, you do like that, the thing disappears from your mouth.
Yeah.
You're like, where did this thing go?
Yeah.
And then you put the other one, that one is like from the beginning to the end, it's there, and you feel really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a choice. And the 2 we bought here never used. She told me the type, the brand he uses. So I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to say to him, sweetheart, I love you.
Of course she does.
But it's difficult to be intimate with you the way you want to be, because I'm going to be blunt, we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, irrespective of what I'm going to say to you now. I have accepted you to be my husband. So I need you to do, and if I have any issues, if I have body odor or if I have anything,
you can come forward and tell me.
Just say this to the poor man, because the man will go home every day wondering why you will not let him kiss you and all of that. And so she did it with the products right there. I spoke to my friend, and this is what she advised me to do. I hope you're not upset. You know the friend. Call my name.
I think the part he might not be happy with is telling you.
No.
Yeah. Some men will not be okay with that.
I know him too.
The friend knows that she's a medical professional, so it's not out of spite or anything like that.
Say to him, tell him that.
Okay.
This guy was so grateful. Nobody had ever told him that he had halitosis.
Of course.
Yeah, everybody's frightened.
He said, you mean all these months? He said he even fell more in love with her that day than when he first met her.
Okay, you said something about shaving your armpits.
Yes.
Okay, some people, when they shave their armpits and then they use deodorants after they have pain.
Yes.
So how do they handle that?
Okay, I love that question, my darling girl. We didn't mention it earlier. It's just like women shaving their eyebrows and then you put, what is it called there? You put alcohol to make it nice and sterilize the area and it smarts. Now, when you shave your armpits, don't just rush and put your antiperspirant in there. We're going to do 2 things first. What are the 2 things? We're going to get ice. Put it there. What does the ice do? It removes or it deadens or it slows the blood supply to that area, so it doesn't smart as much. Alright? What is the second thing you do? You rub an oil-based cream like baby oil or Vaseline. You rub it there. For some people who are very sensitive, okay, they do not do all of that. They do not do only that. They use methylated spirit first to deaden the area. Alright? Now, rather, instead of them to put something like the Vaseline or the baby oil, they rub penicillin they treat it as if they've got an abrasion from trauma, which also works, especially if they're not allergic to penicillin, because some people are allergic to penicillin. The moment penicillin
is it readily available, what do you need a prescription?
In Nigeria, I don't need a prescription for penicillin. It's 200 naira a tube, 150.
No.
If you move from any country to the other and your passport or your document, including visa, has already expired, you are also living there illegally. You have also become an illegal or irregular migrant in such a place, and you don't have any reason to continue to be there. That's why you see some of our people, when they travel and their papers have expired, they begin to run from one city to the other, and in that they run into all manner of dangerous situations. That's also where you get people who change from what we call smuggled migrants to a traffic victim. How? You have moved out of your country to a country where you don't have papers to be in. All of a sudden, you now discover that your papers have expired. You do not have permit to remain there. And what do? You now run into problems. The next thing is that you run into the hands of criminal gangs who are traffickers themselves, and they hold you and begin to tell you, this is what we need to do for you. And that is where you have now become a victim of trafficking. When that happens, whatever they tell you, that is what you will not do, because you believe that they also protect you.
But even apart from that, I understand that there's this mafia-like kind of setup we have, syndicates that we have right here in Nigeria that run around harvesting particularly young women with promises of taking them outside the country where they can go and work as nannies. They can go and work as nannies or domestic help. You're going to get paid in pounds and dollars, and you know, over there that it's very hard to get nanny and all this thing. If you're willing to accept just a little lower than the other people, you make a lot of money. You'll be sending, and then you go there and then you discover that sadly enough you're now part of a sex slave gang, where you know you have to sell your body to bring returns, because they are now holding your international passport, and if you don't bring so much money you cannot ransom your passport so that you can leave the country. And I mean, it's really sad, but I do understand that there is such a thing, and it's a thriving concern right here in Nigeria.
It is happening not only in Nigeria, it is happening also in many countries.
Well, for me, I've heard about people who I've known, not really by proxy, maybe someone I've just heard about and I took a liking to, and I hear the person's dead. I'm like, why? How could it be? But when I lost my mom, I didn't really feel it. I was just 17 at the time. I didn't really feel it, and I just thought, oh, she's gone. But I will always remember what she was to me, what it felt like to have mom around, what it felt like to, whenever mom's angry with you, what she would say, you already know what she was going to do to you and all of that. And all of that was lost. But I went on with it like nothing much had happened. But the bigger blow came when I lost my dad. I was, I think I was in my second year of school. And that day, I got this call on a Sunday afternoon after I came back from church, and someone says, come home, daddy wants to talk to you. And I'm like, what? If daddy wanted to talk to me, he'll call me on the phone to talk to me, right? And I started thinking things, and I said, no, it's not possible. Anyways, I'm going home. And my mood had changed. Like, it was registering, but I was not accepting it.
Was he ill at the time?
Yes, he was ill at the time. But it wasn't expected. So by the time I go home, and finally I was told I was broken, I felt like I had mud all over me. I felt really, really terrible. And when I saw his body, I wasn't crying, there were no tears. I can't explain how it felt like within me. And then the next day was when it really started coming in. And I was like, really? Is he really gone? And in another hour, it felt like he only traveled and he was coming back home. That was what was in my head. And people would come and say, Titi, you need to eat. And I'm like, I'm going to eat. Do you believe that from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m., I was sitting on the same spot. I rejected everything that was brought to me for me to eat, even water. I didn't want to have anything. And people say, no, this is not okay. Are you going to kill yourself? It's gone already. There's nothing you can do about it. Yes, very true. I'll just say, thank you. Thank you.
I mean, so these are dangerous times, and I think that parents should step up and take responsibility for children. In the end, if you bring a child into this world, you should be responsible for the child. Exactly. That is just the bottom line. In that way, you would, if you abuse your child, you're the one abusing the child. You're the one exposing the child to all of that. If we were all responsible for the children we brought into this world, some of the problems would be curtailed.
And we should understand there's a difference between pampering and then teaching your child the basic life skills. There should be. Too much love doesn't mean allowing the child to just relax at home and getting everything done for him doesn't mean you love him too much. I think you're doing more harm than good. Yes.
So in all of this, you know, child labor, the intense child labor that is abusive, now exposes children to a lot of things. And as I mentioned about the perverts out there on the street, we have also young girls getting pregnant at an early age because they're out there on the street trying to fend for themselves. And then, of course, there's that imbalance that now sets in. If a child begins to fend for themselves and they're doing child labor, it means that they've taken back the power. They're no longer answerable to any adult. And that also brings a breakdown in the society. We'll be right back. When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take his pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start off the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh, you know.
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys, they're not ready to marry.
Yes. If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
if you are not near a television screen at the point when we're originally airing conversations, you can always catch up with the conversation through our social media handles. NTA also has a very vibrant YouTube channel. You can watch past episodes of conversations right there as well. So please check it out if you can't meet us live and direct. So let's talk about the hassles of producing conversations. I'll go first. With two kids, where to put my twins when they're calling me like, Nike, start calling, where are you? So what I usually do is I ship them off to my mother's and then I rush here, and then when I'm done, then I go pick them up. That's how I manage my own hassle.
Oh, well, for me, trying to juggle the weekends and but there were times we weren't even doing this specifically on weekends. You understand? Those days that we had to, when we started at the beginning, we had to do some shows midweek, and then I have to drop whatever I'm doing in the office, come over here to record. And really, time management, I had to do a little bit of time management to be here and be part of conversations. But it has been a very interesting process.
Well, for me, there was a time I was having issues with my hip, so driving was a bit of a challenge, you know, but nothing big. Nothing big, because it's an automatic car, so I use my right leg more anyway. Okay. Yeah. But initially that was just a physical thing. But I can't think of any other challenge, seriously.
Okay.
Well, for me, it has to be keeping up with time. I'm always in a rush. I'm always in a rush. Like, I don't want to be the last person to be on set. So for me, it has to be with time management as well, because usually weekends, that's when you get to do your personal stuff, because during the weekday you have to do your primary job. And during weekdays when we started earlier, like she mentioned, you have to close from work. Sometimes I have to even take an excuse from work to be able to do this. But it's been amazing so far.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, for me, I think it would have to be having to think of, oh, what am I going to wear? As when I say that, especially when we have to do more than one episode, you know, there are times when we have to do more than one episode. So I'm like, okay, and then not just that, not just what I have to wear. Okay, that means the next episode I have to wear a different lip color so that they don't decode. You know, that, oh, it's the same day. You know, things like you just have to do a mental check of, oh, this is what I'm wearing, or I should wear this pair of shoes. Okay, I should change the makeup a bit so that they don't think it's, you know, the same day.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah,
I think for me, with regard to this, which actually has been a challenge, is I keep thinking, what have I worn?
There are times when I have to do a quick check on YouTube.
Because
what was I wearing on so and so day? So I don't take the same costume.
Not just about taking the same costume. Okay, the last time I wore a kaftan, so okay, I'll wear a proper dress this time. Okay, I haven't worn trousers in a while. So that becomes a bit of an issue, because you don't want to be known as that girl. Oh, that woman where they like that. So that's a bit of a challenge, actually.
Yeah, I think what I love the most about this whole experience being on Conversations is I thought I had a lot of friends. I thought I had a large network of people. Deva knows that I'm an advocate for all things sisterly and all that, but I actually thought I knew people until I started Conversations. It's opened my world to so many new people doing new things, speaking about there's so many advocacy drives that are going on that honestly I had no idea about, and it's really opened my horizon honestly since I started being on Conversations.
So maybe you want to share with us
any challenges?
Well, basically it's not like a challenge, but you know, most of the time when you're about to come for programs, so I'm always interested in the topics, because you could know what kind of message to pass and how to pass this message. So basically it's kind of getting ready and getting set for the program and being able to deliver and have good conversations, and not just conversations, inspiring conversations that will solve people's problem, lift people's spirits, and also pass something like a very nice important message or lesson. So basically it's about thinking about writing to say what to say and kind of making the program interesting.
Right, I agree with you totally. For me, it's always also about, you know, impacting on people. You know, when people get to hear what we're saying, how does it affect them positively? You know, how do we help them get more information about, you know, stuff, about things going on? And I think, I guess that's what we're about, to be able to make that impact, you know, get people
I think that's the whole
talking,
idea of the show.
even talking more, you know, and expanding their horizon.
You know, every time somebody says something, it jogs my memory. I was the first one to say, oh, no challenges. One challenge for me has been being careful with what I say. Because most of the topics we talk about are pretty sensitive. And in each of these situations, I can't think of a single episode I've been on that, if I looked inward, did not somehow affect me, if not within my immediate family, within the larger family. So I want to be careful with the language I use, the way I express my thoughts, because I don't want any of my friends or family out there thinking, oh, she's talking about me. It's never about any one particular person. You're talking about a situation, and in that moment, for me, I'm being as neutral as I can, because I don't want anybody back home to watch and think, oh, is that what she really thinks about me? It's not about any one particular
I think it's pretty tricky, because
it's tricky. It's one of the trickiest programs I've done. And it also, in the course of doing this program, I've had to talk about personal issues that I would rather not talk about. But in order to make a point, I find myself always making myself the reference point in order to avoid what Devon is talking about. That's one of the first reasons why I always use myself as a reference point. I would rather not talk about my own experiences, but it's the only genuine thing that I can put across. And I found that this program has made me talk about things that I would rather not talk about, that I've had to share. Then the second thing is fearing the red line. When we discussed sexual assault, I was anchoring and I kept saying, I hope we don't cross the red line. Because sexual issues in Africa, in our climate, very dicey, very touchy issues. So these are the things that I've experienced on this show and which I have not experienced on other shows previously.
I'm so glad you said that, because there have been some episodes where there's some topics I'd rather not, ordinarily I wouldn't talk to you about, but when we talked about grief, Dave and you were on that show, it was borderline for me. I was like, wow, I didn't know. I started talking about my brother's passing in ways that I'd never thought I would express myself, and it even gave me some healing afterwards, because it's something I haven't even talked about in a long time. You know, the show on grief, I don't know how we forgot one of our
didn't forget.
It's a favorite show, but it wasn't a happy, it was a happy show, but
that came to my mind. It was, for me, it was the most powerful of all the shows. But because we said talk about your favorite shows, it wasn't my favorite show, because I was reaching into a play and bringing out a whole lot of pain that even some of my closest friends, if Edith watched that program, she'd probably be shocked, because we were really quite close at the time, and if she watched that program, she would have no idea that was what I was going through at the time, because I had this mask on and everybody thought I was relatively okay, and I actually wasn't. So I spoke from a place of deep personal pain. So there's no way I'll refer to that show as my favorite. It wasn't.
So it's a good thing you guys found some kind of
that
closure.
That's what the program has been making people, because there are things that I would ordinarily not have talked about.
And when you talk about your own personal experiences, you don't know who out there is watching you that you're liberating out of a certain situation.
Or who might use it to judge you subsequently. That's and that's what makes people step back. Because that's why we don't share so much. Not because you're shy, not because you're reticent or anything, but you speak from a place of honesty and you're being candid. And then the next time you're walking down the street,
even when you're walking down the street, you can just wake up one day and now see a part of your interview, not the full part of the interview, a part of the interview being cut out and being put in away. It's not even in the street. So it happens now. Now you have your era of social media. You know that things fly out. People can edit with their phones, and someone can just take part of what you just said on the conversation,
and take it
not
out
the
of
full part.
context.
Take the part, and before you know, it's gone viral, and they say, "Oh, see what this lady said about sexual violence. See what he said about this."
Exactly. And then maybe if you have any political ambition,
let's drag it out.
But the good thing is that the full thing is on YouTube, and well, that's the fallback. Anybody tries that kind of thing, of course, the full thing is on, and nobody can take something out of context, and you're running with it.
And you know, with conversation, you just walk on the street and be like, I saw you on TV.
So I also think that issues and discussions on conversations, are best, conveyed when they are personal, when they are real life experiences. And the best way to inspire people, encourage people, also send some strong message or signals is when you can say, tell stories from your own perspective. So it shows, it looks real, and people can actually connect with that easily. So sometimes you just have to be yourself and tell your story the way it is, and probably not just hanging on just staying on.
Sometimes you don't even know when you're saying it. That's because it's flowing. It just comes out naturally. It just comes out naturally.
Highlights from 2017 here in the conversation room. Well, we are going to go behind the scenes and watch some of the clips and pictures from what it's like to be in the conversation room. We'll be right back after this.
Yeah, we're getting ready for conversation, rock and roll.
You can see a caricature of a horse. What is coming before the banner of the Gawa State?
I'm saying it's good.
At this junction, we welcome
No, but you see, the thing is, sometimes when you try to time that thing too much, it doesn't work.
He's got that.
It's not.
Where is he?
last size too.
So it's when I turn.
I think that will not be right already.
Yes, it's a walk in the park, it's just the stuff. That's what you say. It's a walk in the park. Everybody is like, be it anything. You're going to just go in. I think you don't like that when you feel. I'm thinking to myself, this thing is painful. They say, no, I don't want to for it. Like,
well, I love making videos.
This is the sound mixer console. From here we control the sound of everybody talking on the conversation, and I hope we're gonna have a good show today. We do on Saturday, because since during the weekend, Madam put him on Saturday.
You are engineering multi-purpose as a multi-channel engineer. Yes. Our battery level.
I know so.
Fine. So the more reason we should start before the batteries get, you know, winding. So this episode is called what? Can we get the show started now? Cameraman, if you can hear me, please. I need you to let our guests and of course the producer know that we are set technically and we are good to go. Time is of the essence, please. Can we get this show started?
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take his pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh, you know.
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys, they're not ready to marry.
Yes. If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. I got tired of all that and I said,
Okay, some of our moments from 2017 here on Conversations. So ladies and gentlemen, what are the prospects we have for Conversations in the new year?
Well, okay, for me, personal prospect, do a wardrobe check. Wardrobe check, that's very essential. Get a couple more pairs of shoes. And then for the topics, really, we've done a lot of deep topics, but moving forward, I think we should do more. Maybe I get emotional when we do the ones about children, like the one that we talked about the child labor. Yeah. We should do things more in that direction, maybe girl-child education. I'm sure we've touched on some of those things, but you see, we never exhaust anything fully because it's always broad when we take a topic. So maybe we would now begin to look at smaller details. We zoom in on a detail. Maybe when we, for instance, if we do girl-child education, where is the problem most? Is it in the Northeast? That kind of thing, you know. So we'd now look at that and proffer solutions and talk about things like that. So we begin to narrow in on the issues in the program.
Okay. For me, I think it would be to tick the right boxes and, in essence, be better at every level. For instance, if we have a topic to talk about, probably do some more research. Get the right people to come and talk about it so that people get the right information as well. Yeah. And also, well, I was thinking hopefully we could have our producer can get us a professional makeup artist.
We
all agree. On that. Maybe a wardrobe. Oh no, I don't want this. I want that one. I think this looks better on me. Just let's be more. I don't know if professional is the word. Let's just get better on every level. Yeah. On every level. Then maybe the biscuits can change to cookies or something. We'll have lollipops instead. Also, just
cookies is American English for biscuits.
When I say yes, I do. But when I say cookies, the ones with chocolate chips here.
I knew she was going to go there.
Nice one. But with regard to being, doing a little more research, bringing on board resource persons and things like that, I think we've done pretty well because I've learned a lot from the program. What I do know for a fact, and I am looking forward to, is a lighter production schedule. Because going into the new year, I understand that there will be a change in that regard. And I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Well, for me, I think we should talk more about saving marriages, because right now there are so many unhappy couples everywhere. We have to talk more about it. We have to enlighten people, because sometimes they're not even aware of how to handle situations, and at the end of the day they end up doing what they should do. Instead of getting an advice from somebody that could really help, they could just go to a friend and then they will be misguided. So I think we should focus more on that, how to save marriages, and makeup artists, a good wardrobe, and there should be like a lunch break, lunch break in between the episodes.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I think discussions should be more topical. Should discussions that probably talk more about the nation, something that issues that can prefer solutions, issues on governance, issues on leadership, and also basically things that are topical, how we could also help to suggest issues that can add a lot of vibes or positive stuff to national development. So I think we should add more topics like that. So that's just what I think going forward.
Okay. My prospects for the new year, because we're here, because we have viewers, I would like to get a topic or two every now and then from our viewers, throw one our way, what you want us to talk about. We'd like to hear from you. That's why we have our social media handles. And another prospect for 2018, we have a bride in the house. Akiba is getting married in the new year 2018. So I'll be reporting live in the conversations room. And I guess Divan will be on
I'll be in my office. If it's a week, I'm just joking. If it's a weekend, I'll
you have to be there. There's no excuse for that.
It's a conversations wedding.
It's a conversations wedding. Congratulations, Akiba. We wish you all the very best. And coincidentally, she was talking about marriages and things like that. So congratulations, Akiba, and hoping that when we're talking about marriages now, you'll be talking from
experience. Yes. The little I'll have by then.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic. So that's about it for our topic today on Conversations. Thank you for joining us as always. We appreciate you, our viewers. We are nowhere without you. Like I said, our social media handles are there for you to relate with us. Thank you once again. This is Nike on behalf of the rest of the crew waving. Bye. Goodbye, and we wish you a very successful 2018.